Hello world. Before writing our first program, let us see what is coding. The world's first programmable machine is not a computer, it's a textile looming machine. It is called as Jacquard looming machine. It was invented by Jacquard at the year of 1802. At first, the desired output design is painted and it is given to a skilled labor, so he will make manual punch holes on it. This is called as punch cards. At the places he make holes is called as zeros. At the places of no holes, it is called as ones. These punch cards are get inserted in the looming machine. The looming machine have string of nails. At the place of holes, the nail get inserted. At the place of no holes, the nail will get hit back. You can observe a puddle-like structure here. When he gives pressure, this structure will rise up. So it will rise up the hit back nails. So it will create a gap. A new thread is inserted, new color. So we get a unique output due to our unique hole pattern in our punch cards. And finally, we get output like this. This is how the programming language works. Whatever the programming languages are, Python, C++, Java, the compiler just runs the code and makes machine understandable zeros and ones. And the hardware of the machine will run the zeros and ones and produce the desired output. When we compare this process to our looming process, this paint is compared to our coding. With help of our coding, our compiler will make zeros and ones. He is our compiler. He makes zeros and ones, and he is our hardware. Process the zeros and ones and make processes like this, and he will give output like this. So let us write our first program. Hello world. Don't worry about these lines. I will explain you detailedly. Now I want to print a message. Hello world. So to do that, I'll say cout. Cout stands for console output. So it instructs our machine that we are going to print something in the display screen. This is called as insertion operator. It is used to print the message what we type after this insertion operator. So whatever you type inside this double quote will get printed in the output screen. Let me say hello world. I'm using another scope resolution operator. I'm saying endl. Endl stands for end line. So after executing endl, it will print the upcoming program in the new line. After this, you give return 0. Let me run this code. So it says hello world. Here we say hash include. It means we are going to include a library function in it. IOStream is a library function. It stands for input output stream. So when we write code to display output and to get input, we must use hash include IOStream library. In next line, we have using namespace std. We can do code without this line. Let me show you. If I run this code, I will get error. It says endl was not declared in the scope and it asks, did you mean std? So let me rectify this error without using namespace std. Before the cout statement, I am typing std and I am giving colon colon. This colon colon is called scope resolution operator. And before the endl, I am giving std colon colon. So the keyword cout is an element to print the output. Cout is the element of ostream library and endl is the element of ostream library. So whatever element you use regarding input and output, you must include std and colon colon, which is scope resolution operator, to access it. So let me run the same code again. It executes same as before. How you get input from user? We are going to use an element in IOStream library. We are going to get input. It is a part of IOStream library. So first I say std, then scope resolution operator. I'm giving the keyword cin. Cin stands for console input. So it used to get input from the user during the runtime. This is called as extraction operator. It used to extract the input data from the user during the runtime. Before the cin statement, I am creating a variable int x. Here x is a container to store a data. So in x we can store numbers like 1, 2, 3 without a floating point. Don't get confused. I will explain you this. So in the cin statement, I'm getting output for x. So I'm going to print the value of x using cout statement. Cout, I'm using insertion operator. Then I'm printing x. Inside this double quotes, I'm typing the message, enter a value. Let me run this program. So I enter the value as 35. It prints the value 35. We use the line return 0. This return 0 tells that we are ending the program here. If I put the return 0 statement right here, so it will end the program here. This lines of code will not get executed. So let me remove this return 0 and save the code, run it. See, after printing enter a value, it ends the program. If I remove this return 0, it defaultly ends the main block at the end of the program. So it ends the main block here. We are not giving the keyword return 0. So let me run this program once again. It says enter value, ends the program at end of the main function. If we use the line using namespace, we use the line using namespace std, then we don't want to use this std colon colon. We can remove all of this. We include the line using namespace std. So now we can use cout and cin statement without using std and scope resolution operator. In C++, the program will start from the main function. So from the main function, it executes the code. So the main function is mandatory here. We are giving the data type as int. Int stands for integer. So at the return, we have to give return 0. If we don't give return 0, it will take default as return 0. In programming, we often need a named storage location to store the data or values. Let us see an example. Here we have two containers. Let us name it as A and B. Here the A and B are the variables here. So here we have two types of containers. One container has holes, one container has no holes. If I try to store water in B, I can store it. If I try to store water in A, I cannot store it due to the holes present in it. If I try to store solid item in A, I can store it. If I try to store solid item B, I can store it. So in a container, store a specific data. So here the A and B are the variable name. Here these two containers are the variable, and with hole, with no hole are the data type here. Int stands for integer. Here we can store the numbers like 1, 2, 3 and etc. Here we can store number without a decimal point. Float stands for floating point. So in float, we can store the numbers with a decimal point. For example, 23.9, 99.8, like that. In long, we can store bigger numbers like phone numbers. Character is used to store this 256 ASCII character. Here you have alphabets, numbers, special characters. Character can store only one value. For example, it can store A, it can store B, but it can store only one value at a time. In Boolean, we can store two values, 0 or 1. 0 means false, 1 means true. This is the pyramid of memory. At top, we have 1 bit. 1 byte is equal to 8 bit. 1 kilobyte is equal to 1024 bytes. Character occupies just 2 bytes. Integer and float occupies 4 bytes. Long and double occupies 8 bytes. This is how you create a variable in C++. First you mention the data type, it's going to be integer, and the variable name, it is going to be x, and I am assigning value 5 to the variable x. The first variable is going to be integer. First I mention the data type as int x and x is equal to 5, and then I end it with semicolon. The next data type is going to be character a, and I am storing value s, capital S in it, and I end it with semicolon. The next data type is going to be long, and the variable name is L, and I am assigning this value to it. It is semicolon. Cout insertion operator, first x, then endl. So here I have given all the variables in the output statement. So let me save the code and run the code. So here I get 5s and the long value. Arithmetic operators. Those arithmetic operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and modulus division. Let us write a code. Let me declare two variables here. It is going to be integer a equal to 5 and b equal to 3. End it with semicolon. Here I have given two integer variable a and b. So in the cout statement, here I have declared all arithmetic operators. A plus b, just add this two value. A minus b, just subtract this two value. And this modulus will divide the value and gives the remainder. A divided by b will divide the value and give the output as integer form. A divided by b will be 1 point something, but it will give the integer value only 1. Let me save the code and run it. So it says a plus b is 8, a minus b is 2, 15, 1 and 2. Here we have 5 types of assignment operator. Let me write two equations. A is equal to a plus 1. Another equation, a plus equal to 1. Here I have taken assignment operator. Let me fix the value of a is 1 first. So these two equations are equivalent to each other. And the current value of a is 1. What it do is, it increment the value 1 to it. So 1 plus 1 is going to be 2. And it stores the result 2 in the variable a. And for all others, it does the same. See, I have written the code here. I have fixed the value a to 5 first, and I have used this assignment operator, so it will increment 1 to it. Now the value of a is 6, so let me run this code. First the value of a is 5 here, so it increment 1, so the value of a is 6, the current value of a is 6, so it will take the current value of a, it is 6, and decrement it by 1, so the value of a is 5. It takes the current value of a, it is 5, and multiplies it by 10, so the value is going to be 50. It takes the modulus, so 50 modulus 3 is going to be 2. The modulus is just divides the value by 3 and stores the remainder in a. So the current value of a is 2, so a divided by 2 is just 1. Unary operators, we have 4 types of unary operators. This is called as pre-increment operator. This is called as post-increment operator. This is called as pre-decrement operator. This is called as post-decrement operator. First, it takes the value of a and pre-increment it, and then it use it. First, it use the value a and then it increment it by 1. Here in pre-decrement, first it decrement the value by 1 and then it use it. In post-decrement, it first use the value, then decrement it by 1. Let me write a code. So the current value of a is 10 here. So it first uses the value 10 here because of post increment. First it uses the value 10 and then it increment to by 1. So the value of a is 11 now. Here we use post decrement. First it increment the value, then it use it. The value of a is 11 now and it increment it by 1. so it prints the value as 12. In post decrement, it first uses the value and decrement it by 1. It first uses the value as 12 and it decrement it to 11. So in pre-decrement, it first decrement the value and then it use it. The current value of A is 11 now and it decrement it to 1, so the value will be 10. Conditional operator is used to check a condition. Let me write the two variables. First, this less than operator will check whether A is less than B. So A is less than B, so it prints true. Greater than will check whether A is greater than B, so it is false, it just prints false. Let us see a code. Conditional operators are very useful to check conditions in if else in looping statements. Here you can see A greater than B is true, so it returns 1. A less than B is false, so it returns 0. And A and B are not equal, so it returns 0. And A is not equal to B, so it returns 1.